Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today at Abt in Germany to take a first look and drive at their brand new RSQ8-R. This is the king of SUVs. They've launched it to celebrate the 125th anniversary of Abt. There are going to be 125 units. Today we're going to take a full look at this Java Green example. I'll show you through all of the modifications that Abt have made to the RSQ8 from Audi before we go out for a drive to experience exactly what it is like. Let's just say the power is up to 740 horsepower. You can see it's wearing the carbon fibre aero kit. It also has a new exhaust, the Abt level control, and plenty more upgrades to the interior to show you through as well. This is probably going to be quite something, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it. So let's take a full look and then get out on the roads. I'm here at the moment at the home of Abt in Kempten in Germany, where we have the RSQ8-R parked here outside Abt's motorsport department, but we'll take a quick look around before we get it started and take the car out for an experience to drive it and see what it's about. Firstly in the countryside on the twisty roads, and then heading to the Autobahn to put the foot down. I've just got to hope it doesn't rain. We've got some pretty grey clouds at the moment. But let me start then by taking you around a car where Abt have really dialed up the already ultimate performance SUV from Audi to the max. In fact, the Q8 borrows on from the platform sharing with the other Volkswagen Group brands, the likes of the Lamborghini Urus, the Porsche Cayenne Coupe, that sporty, large-scale SUV format. But the RSQ8 is Audi Sport injecting their life into it. This takes things even further. Just look at the car here though, striking with the Java Green, all of the contrasting carbon fibre, the large 23-inch flow-formed wheels, and plenty more going on under the skin as well, on a car that is a very significant one for Abt, celebrating 125 years of the company with the 125 units of this car that they will make, following on from a successful format with their RS6R, RS7R, RS5R, now the RSQ8R as well. So let me take you through the modifications of the exterior, starting with the carbon fibre aero kit. We have a gigantic front grille, fully surrounded by the carbon fibre piece all the way around. Down towards the base, we have the RSQ8R badging, the lower carbon lip splitter as well. We've got the carbon pieces around the air intakes. We've got the carbon wheel arches running all the way around, the lower pieces front and rear of the side skirts, carbon mirror caps, again the rear arches. Towards the back, we have the lip spoiler up on the top of the rear window. We've got these side pieces too, and then down at the base we've got the full diffuser and the new stainless steel exhaust system, twin tips on each side. These are 10 102mm tips, in fact, stainless steel exhaust system, which we'll hear plenty of in a moment, and also the carbon fibre trim that runs through the centre. You'll notice at the moment the car is sitting quite low. It has Abt's level control, which allows it to sit up to 5 centimetres lower than standard through a series of different modes, while still being able to use all of the full off-roading modes that it would typically have. Plus it has the coffee mode where it sits right down to look amazing when it's parked up, which of course it does. I didn't mention as well, we've got the carbon fibre pieces just here, but let me show you on the interior some of the changes that have been made inside here. We've got the one of 125 door sills, we've got the special floor mats on the seats, we've got the RSQ8R embroidery, the Abt embroidery, we've got new carbon fibre pieces for the steering wheel, the one of 125 badging in the centre. I'm also going to open up the engine bay and talk about this, because the car boasts incredible performance for such a thing. In fact, if we just open this, it has the 4-litre twin turbocharged V8, it has the Abt Power R kit, so you can see here the Abt engine control, which takes the power up from the standard 600 horsepower to 740, and torque goes up from 800 newton meters to 920, so we're talking 140 horsepower extra, 120 newton meters extra, of course with permanent all-wheel drive. But that means this car could do the 0 to 100 km/h sprint, 62 miles per hour, in 3.4 seconds, 0.4 quicker than the standard 3.8. In fact, it will go to a top speed limited, get this, to 315 kilometers an hour. The standard car can go up to 305. So this is an immensely powerful machine. Let me actually close down the bonnet very quickly, because like I say, I am fighting the weather. We should hop on board, go almost immediately for a drive. Firstly, before that, I do need to get it started. You can hear the beast coming into life. New Abt start-stop button. Fire it up. You can hear a nice sound out of that. And in a moment, we will get out and take it on out for a drive. Sounds good, doesn't it? So the car also features the latest Audi taillights and headlights as well. But first step is to lift the suspension through the different stages. Look at those. I do think Audi have done a magnificent job with their headlights. Obviously the suspension goes through these various different stages. The air suspension system that can lift fully up. So coffee mode right down. Just above that you have dynamic mode, you have the comfort modes, then further up you have the full off-roading modes, and you can see that lifting up. There's always something quite fun about seeing the suspension on the car moving like that to help obviously with the dynamic end of the spectrum, but also the comfort end of the spectrum as well. So this thing looks awesome. We'll bring it down before I can hop on board and take it for a drive myself. In typical fashion, it has indeed just started raining, which is not ideal in the slightest, but we're heading towards slightly less grey clouds, so hopefully it's not going to be too bad in the direction we're going. Driving in here though, obviously, as you would expect, it initially feels like a very comfortable place to be. Let's be real, it is a top-of-the-line luxury SUV to begin with that then becomes the performance variant through Audi Sport before Abt take it even further. But you've got good visibility all around, you're sat very high up on the road. In front of you, you have the great displays, the full virtual cockpit dashboard, you've got the haptic feedback, central screens, which in the past I've had small irritations with because you do need to be looking down at exactly what you're pressing. You can't be 100% sure you've pressed the right button, but obviously we've also got every single safety system under the sun. We've got a head-up display, we've got the Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's a really well-equipped, high-tech, enjoyable place to be sat, and this is just driving in normal environments. Now, where performance SUVs, I think where they don't necessarily make sense is that for performance you want lightweight, you want small, you want nimble, and a big SUV is not that from the beginning. So I've been led to believe that this is going to be quite a surprise to drive. So we'll get out towards a twisty road in a moment where I will have an opportunity to pop it up into sport. We're currently in the default settings, so comfortable. We have Audi Drive Select where you can configure and change your modes, but this is all just default chill mode. In fact, if I do this to learn as I go, you can either press the dedicated buttons or you can go into the software on the main system and set it up exactly how you'd like. But this is where you've got the off-road modes, you've got auto, or we can go all the way straight into dynamic, where I'm sure you heard as it dropped a gear we got a little bit more sound out of the exhaust. Now this is the optional exhaust system that Abt have fitted on this car, because of course we're in a world, you get some burbles as you lift off as well. We're in a world with OPFs and extra cats and everything that makes cars as quiet as they can possibly be, which is no fun for a sporty variant of a car, in this case the RSQ8. But the RS, or I should say the Abt-R models, you know, the RS6R, RS7R, have always been a lot of fun to drive because these are really good cars to begin with, and then they just dial them up even further and make them more exciting, make them more dynamic, and I think it adds a flair that in many cases Audi themselves perhaps miss from the cars. They could make them a little bit more crazy, a little bit more exciting. Anyway, we have open road in front of us, so to put the foot down, that actually sounds pretty good. V8 rasping away as we accelerate out into the countryside. Now we do need to get some more twisty roads before I can offer some proper feedback, but I think the numbers speak for themselves. 740 horsepower, however heavy a car is a very, 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 very big number. We will head to the Autobahn for the full experience very shortly. This car is well run in, so it's good to go, good to have some fun with, and see how quickly those numbers climb. The top speed in the standard car would typically be limited to 250 kilometers an hour, 155 miles per hour, but you can get an upgrade package to raise that to 305, and then on this car, Abt make it possible to go up to 315. This is the full package, you know, the full RSQ8-R package that comes as a whole, that can be fitted, and I gather they're already in high demand, not really that surprisingly given what it offers and how cool it looks. And the RSQ8 is quite a cool, albeit semi-controversial thing to begin with, but this certainly does the job in terms of visual appearance. As we come back to the open roads, I'm actually going to go manual for a second. Just drop the gears down to second gear, foot down. It's actually quite enjoyable. First corner, yeah, the steering isn't 100%. It's never going to be. You can certainly tell that the weight is right up there over the front axle, which is actually something I found with the Urus as well. It does drive in a similar way. Now the RSQ8 normally in stock setup is slightly behind the Urus in the performance stakes. Of course, that is where this leapfrogs, we could say, and goes up over the top, and that's, I guess, kind of the point of it. But obviously you can see for the Volkswagen group as a whole how they position these different cars and where they are in the ladder, and obviously the Bentayga is up there as well. In fact, I think the Bentayga was the fastest SUV in the world when it was launched. This is faster though, which is kind of cool as well. Not that today I think we're going to be getting a VMAX run per se, but anyway, even just as we cruise and waft down these nice gentle twisty roads, this is actually feeling pretty good, surprisingly so, because normally these kind of cars just don't work in this environment. As soon as you throw them into a corner, they can still be the sporty variant, but they go a bit soft and lose it a little bit. And obviously this is in dynamic, this is in the firmer settings, this is set up in fun mode, we could say. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. It's not fantastic, it's not perfect. You know, this is where an RS6, for example, would really be the icing on the cake, but it's not bad for what it is. Back out to an open road, I'm just going to come to a stop for a moment, because why not? So we're in full dynamic settings, and basically foot down, car takes off. Yeah, there we go. Wow. Yeah, that's really quick. I mean, that's not a surprise at all when the numbers add up. Yeah, okay. Okay then, so let's pop it into drive. So the gearbox can just soften. You can do the gearbox settings independently. In fact, you can set up the entire car independently and exactly how you'd like it. If I just go back into comfort mode, yes, instantly it's softer, but way more wallowy. You can feel massively how the car wants to just dive over a little bit, but obviously that's not the setting you want it in on this road. In fact, if you have it in auto, it would detect that you're putting a more aggressive steering input in, there we go, and holds the car more steady. It's actually brilliant how well these systems work and how you can instantly feel what it's doing. The feedback, it's straight away there. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take it a little bit easier now. Imagine this thing in the rearview mirror of another car, especially a little Fiat 500. Must be moderately terrifying because it's gigantic and it's so aggressive at the front. The visuals of that front apron, that front appearance, just monstrous. Anywho, let's head to the Autobahn and go put the foot down. I'm entering the Autobahn here, but it is looking very, very grey, so let's hope it stays dry because, well, I'm expecting it to be busy in any case, but wet would not be much fun. So we still have the car in dynamic, we're in sport mode for the gearbox, we will come round onto a de-restricted section, but yes, I can see a lot of cars around. Nonetheless, an opportunity to put the foot down a little bit and get a small sense of what the car is about, and this is where it doesn't pitch as much as you might expect it to for such a big car. Obviously that's down to the suspension. We've got things like the automatic recognition of vehicles, you know, and the blind spot assistance, that kind of thing. There's a very quick response as well. Obviously the gearbox is in automatic at the moment, I'm not shifting manually, and when you put your foot down on the throttle it's instantly down a few gears. Obviously these things improving significantly, and this is the latest. Now I've also driven the new RS7 and RS6 in their stock formats, so I had a feel for what those are like. But kick down and away we go, and just watch some of the numbers building. 160, 170, 180, 190, 200 kilometers an hour, 124 miles per hour, up to about 220. Oh, the van in front has moved over, so we've got a fairly empty stretch, but as you can see with the cars, we've just got to keep our wits about us a little bit in case anybody wants to move over. But up to 250 kilometers an hour, which is, well, the normal max speed, 155 miles per hour, with phenomenal ease. You know, supercar speeds not very long ago, while being quite calm in the process. That's the thing about a car like this. It's riding very well. It's, yeah, okay, you can hear some wind because it's a massive object that's pushing through the wind up ahead of us, but overall, it just does it really nicely. You know, Autobahn cruiser, drop the gears, foot down, accelerate, feel the power, and especially the torque. And, you know, away you go. You could put it into comfort mode, it will get significantly quieter. Things like the exhaust will just shut up a touch if you don't want to have the noise all the time. Very much a sense of that behind you from the exhaust. And yeah, a few raindrops on the window, but you know, 200 kilometers an hour, arriving on the car in front, it must look terrifying. And it just does a really nice job of it, as I kind of hoped and now have been satisfied. It's met expectations that this was going to be a good car to drive, and there's just no discussion that with the full RSQ8-R package, it looks awesome. It looks really, really cool. Oh, we've got the radio traffic announcements. Yeah, we don't want those right now, although they're probably telling me in German that there is traffic up ahead. Hopefully not. Obviously we've got a few different views on the dashboard. You can change the settings, and you have all of these fantastic display options, lap timers, lap statistics, and you've got the RS modes. Now that we're here, I should mention the RS modes, which allow you to have instant access to RS1 and RS2. So these could be configured however you want them, and you get a different, yeah, that puts ESC into sport as well, which is not the best in this weather. So we'll go back actually into RS1 mode, he says. Oh dear, torrential rain up ahead, where we get the horizontal rev counter, the same for the head-up display, which just looks really, really cool. Thanks, weather. This isn't what I wanted when out on the German Autobahn. This is not what I wanted in the slightest. I mean, it's a pretty good car for the purpose. It's just, yeah, not great for showing you guys what it's like to put the foot down. This is a great demonstration. We're going uphill around a bend, and at 190 kilometers per hour, it's completely planted. That's a genuine surprise. Touching over 200, and it feels brilliantly balanced, which for a car of this size, I mean, I was saying it's probably the king of the performance SUVs, and I think that's probably not wrong, because it's really driving pretty well for such a thing. I mean, you're witnessing it, and just get back on the power a little bit. 220 around a corner in an SUV. G63 wouldn't be comfortable doing this. Be comfortable at all, and then it straightens out, feel completely planted, and the numbers build up to 40, to 50, around another corner, about 260. My foot's just backed off because obviously corners as we head down south the bottom of Germany from Kempten here. Yeah, this is a remarkable Autobahn mile muncher. The slip road with a nice tight corner, catching up with the van in front a little bit, but open again, completely open behind. Now we've got a solid line, so I can't quite cross at the moment, but as soon as I can go pedal to the metal and see what we've got. So away we go. Full upshift on the red line. I mean, if you're watching these numbers rise, this is a really quick thing. Really, really, really quick. Going uphill as well, I should point out at the moment. 280 kilometers per hour, and that's where I'm going to get on the brakes with the cars ahead. But like it's nothing. 280 kilometers per hour. I mean, that's in the region of 174 miles an hour, I want to say. Yeah. This is a really cool thing. I actually like it even more than I thought. For this kind of journey. Typically these SUVs don't drive like this. This is not normal. I prefer it from my experience to the Urus as well, which is a surprise. The ride is really good, even though it's on 23-inch wheels. 23-inch wheels with 295 wide rubber all the way around as well. It's just a crazy thing. Abt have made a crazy thing, and I spent a lot of time, as you might remember, in their 120-year car, the RS6 120-R edition that I borrowed for a couple of months back, well, 4 years ago now, because it's 2021 that Abt are celebrating their 125th anniversary, and that was really, really cool to use, that car. And I can see where this is exactly placed, and, well, where it might go in the future as well. One more junction. Got to make the most of it, of course. I can't believe how well this car goes for such a thing. To pick up at this pace is huge. And then this is our exit to go back to the home of Abt again on the brakes. The braking is really good. The braking in here is really, really solid. Very, very reassuring. And now, of course, we're off the Autobahn. We can press the RS mode, go back to normal, or of course we can go with drive select into comfort and just enjoy a nice leisurely return to base, really. Easy steering does make a big difference. Of course, with electronic steering, it's heavily variable depending which setup you have, which modes you're in.
think the suspension is just going to be lifting up a touch as well, now that I've taken it out of the dynamic mode. And of course we have just a nice, pleasant driving experience, dodging some of the clouds, I hope.
I'm parked back up at Abt, and I think the rain clouds are coming any moment now, but let me show you a few more things around the inside of the car. Of course, there are many changes as well that have been made, even down to the small details, like the new rear view mirror glass. Obviously, we've got the full glass roof in here as well, a very highly equipped car. The seats are super supportive. You've got the perforations for cooling, seat heating, all of the carbon trim around, and one really special piece of carbon trim, in fact, is just in here. They've even done the side of the dashboard, as you can see, everything made with carbon fibre, obviously giving the sporty look inside as well. And at the moment it's just letting us know that the door is open. In fact, let's have a couple of blips just while we can. And what you notice there is that you can only rev up to about 4,000 RPM, even if you're up in RS1 or RS2. We were in dynamic just there, but you can see exactly the same. It's capped, letting us know that the ESC is in sport when we're in RS2. Those are configurable modes. You can change exactly how they're set up, and obviously you get those different dashboard displays. You can change the displays like this as well. You can do all sorts of things in here. You can have a very large navigation screen, should you prefer, just like that, which is, it's pretty nice. I like being able to set this up. Audi were one of the first to introduce this kind of system, which obviously we now see more or less across the board. Now, I did mention the haptic displays, the way that they're set up, so you press them and you get a small vibration to confirm exactly what you've done. This is where you have everything that you could possibly want. Car, of course, is where we have these modes, RS1 and RS2, how you can configure them, drive system, suspension, steering, engine sound, quattro with sport differential, and all the different settings. This is where you have the suspension that you can raise and lower it, and then the lower screen are the things like your comfort controls. You've actually got hill descent control here as well, being an off-roader, where obviously the car will effectively work like cruise control to maintain the braking and keep you at a consistent speed going downhill. You've got your ventilated seats, your heated seats, which you can have both on at the same time. We don't want that, even though it's about to rain. It is actually quite warm outside at the moment and a bit stuffy. And you've got your hotkeys to jump through the drive select modes, which literally, as you press, cycles just up and down through those different modes. You could hear the exhaust valve getting quieter and softer when I went into comfort as well. Obviously, we've also got the surround cameras, the full 360 cameras, which when I close the driver's door, which has soft close as you would expect, we then get the full visibility. Not particularly exciting where I'm parked up right now, with the ability to help you park, and the 3D overhead view, which I always think is so infinitely awesome, because obviously this is the live view. This is what we're looking at outside. In fact, if I spin it around this way, you can see over there is the Abt Motorsport building. How clever is that? It's really, really good. And it has all of the safety systems as well. So things like, if we press this button, driver assist, maximum, if we press here, does it tell us everything? Distance warning, Audi preset, side assist, intersection assist, emergency assist, exit warning system, rest recommendation. Oh, we don't want the last one. But the side assist, no, that's not the one I wanted. The one is when the car basically presents, detects if you're potentially going to have an accident, and prepares everything and knows what's going on, which is immense in terms of just having the best safety. But it's a very clean dashboard, actually, looking across, how you have the chrome trim that runs the full width, the screen integrating into that gloss piano black style display with the air conditioning vents sitting just up above that. Let me just turn the car off for a moment. We've also got the Abt shifter just here. One press to switch it off. Just show you a few more things. The embossed logo on the armrest. We've got the wireless charging pad, as well as SIM card slot, SD and 2 USB ports inside there, a rubber storage tray. You've got here the opening piece where we have the key, as it happens. This is the key for this car. Quite a small key. I like cars with smaller keys. There seems to be a tendency towards big chunky keys, which I find awkward and just get in the way a little bit. Obviously you can have Audi Individual to personalise the car even more from factory, but Abt just adding all of these finishing touches. Climb out. I want to show you inside the back of the car very quickly. In fact, I'll show you inside the boot as well while we're here. Obviously we have powerful tailgate, decent amount of storage space, and given we're in Germany, we have some Haribo as well, and you have the ability to lower the suspension, which just makes it easier to lift in luggage over the rear shelf just by lowering this a few centimeters at the rear suspension. Makes things a little easier on that front, and you've got your parcel shelf tray that just pulls down over the top, as you would expect. He says, not quite sure how you release it. There we go. That slides back up. We can close this, and then the rear of the car is finished to the same standard as the front. The lovely seat, RS embroidery as well. Carbon trims, all very nice. And then the bolt-on side skirt pieces that we have. Now the reason there are the two short pieces, in case you're wondering why it's not a full-length side skirt, is obviously that would be a much more expensive piece of carbon fibre. Perhaps they'll do something like that in the future, but also to prevent people using it as a step. I think there's a lot of temptation that you might want to almost stand on here, which would be a costly mistake. So that is why it is not used in the context of this car. Overall though, what a machine. What an epic thing to drive on the Autobahn, and what a surprise performance machine as well to drive on the nice roads. This really has ticked more boxes than I thought it would before today, and I think it looks brilliant. It is a fantastic... I can imagine some people think this might be a little bit overkill because it's so aggressive, but for me that's what this car is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a monster of an SUV, and it really and truly in the green, in Java green, has really done that very, very, very well. Now this is a prototype that I've been lucky to experience today, so a huge thanks to the team here at Abt, Daniel Abt and the team of course, for the opportunity to come down and be able to give this a go, to take it for a drive and share my experience of it with you, because, well, you've seen the video, you've seen my enjoyment from driving it, and you've seen quite how ludicrously fast this thing can get a move on. 280 kilometers an hour without breaking a sweat. I have no doubt that 315, the VMAX that is claimed as the limiter, it could probably go quite a lot more if that was removed, but then you're barreling with quite a big thing down the Autobahn. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate your support an awful lot, and I hope you've enjoyed this first look and drive in the new Abt RSQ8-R. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers!